there are ways to get set up to go through a comp license if you haven't got the background from forever ago and have the experience. The way that I went through it was kind of this progression over the years where I never really technically went through a comp license training per se, because you're either passing or being passed the entire time you're in a car.
A scenario here.
Yeah.
For you to coach me
Mhm.
for a month, how much would that cost?
Free.
What's up, you guys, and welcome to another video for NPC Racer. My name is Felix, as always, and here with me is John Gaydos from Soul Performance Products. I am interviewing him today as like a how to get into getting the license, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm literally learning this, as I've said before, on the fly, documenting the progress as I go, and moving forward from there. So, John, thank you for having me.
No problem, buddy.
As we spoke earlier,
Sure.
do you want to talk about like your obscure way on how you got into the racing that you're into right now? Because it didn't quite follow like a traditional path, or like a path that I'm going to need to follow.
It all seems to be really subjective, the whole traditional way, I guess, because there's the way that I kind of went through it seems to be the way a lot of racers go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But other people who are getting into it a little later in life that haven't been doing it from a younger age like I have, there are ways to get set up to go through a comp license if you haven't got the background from forever ago and have the experience. I equate this towards, some people get a job based off of experience versus some people getting a job based off of having a degree.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So if you don't have the experience, how do you get the job? You go get the degree.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to like NASA or SCCA and you can go through their comp license program and get your license to go racing with the series, like, Spec E36, Spec E46, Spec Miata.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of the most popular ones out there. The way that I went through it was kind of this progression over the years where I never really technically went through a comp license training per se.
Mm-hmm.
I started out doing autocross when I was a teenager, when I first got my license. Won a couple regional classes there. And then got into go-karting, right into racing shifter karts, which is, their most competitive class. At least it was at the time, back when I did it. There were fields around 30 or so.
And you don't need a license for karting?
Nope, don't need a license for karting. So I did well there. I got a few podiums for seasonal with Northeast Shifter Kart Series and Gear Up F Series that runs up and down this coast.
Okay.
And then did a few invitationals, which were cool. Raced out in Texas and Stock Honda Expert, also in Rock Island, Illinois, during that one. That was a lot of fun. But then from karting, I got into doing track days and driver coaching.
Okay.
And from the karting and the driver coaching, that background of doing that for a few years before actually doing car racing, it kind of was like, all right, I want to go do some endurance racing. So I started doing endurance racing with AER and Lemons, and based off of the previous experience of the karting and being very successful there, as well as the driver coaching with PCA, where I got my training done at Sebring, there was, they're not necessarily looking for that, oh, you have a competition license.
Okay.
They're
just looking
come
for
race with us. They're looking for experience more than anything else. So
Gotcha.
Got into, racing there. Lemons, we did very well. We finished second overall out of 100 plus, 160 plus cars in some fields,
and Lemons,
3 times in a year.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Lemons
sure.
is the $500 or less, right, on the car?
Yes, of course.
Gotcha.
And you don't need any comp license or really any experience to go race Lemons.
Mm-hmm.
And man, let me tell you, the situational awareness training that gives you for other racing in the future is pretty unbelievable because you're either passing or being passed the entire time you're in a car. And if you can be comfortable and stay clean racing there, the likelihood of you being able to do that in a more, let's call it a competitive and more professional environment, definitely, compounds itself.
Gotcha.
So, that kind of stuff pays off really well if you're going to something like AER or Champ Car or WRL on the endurance side of things, or if you want to do some sprint racing like what NASA and SCCA do, where I currently run with a Grid Life Touring Cup. That is a you're going to be close to people, and you got to be comfortable being close to people.
Yeah, I've been with the iRacing for a little bit now, and when I get to the close wheel-to-wheel combat, it definitely gets a little intense. Even though it's just virtual, you still don't want to crash the car. It's like
no,
just
crashing a car is very inconvenient. I have been in cars that have hit walls. I hit the wall sideways at Watkins Glen coming onto the front straight. I think it was in 2019, and broke my Hans device, split the case of my Hans device, broke my hand, put a hole in my helmet, knocked myself the out. I can't even remember being at the track. I have no idea what happened.
Wow.
Which was,
it's kind of a risky take with the sport.
It is a risky take. That car didn't have the safety equipment that most race cars have now. That car didn't have halo head restraints.
Oh, okay.
So it was just when I hit the wall sideways, the seat mount bracket bent back, and my head hit a fire extinguisher mount that was mounted on the roll bar. So I got really, really lucky there. And if I had halo seats, that wouldn't have happened.
Okay.
So any car that I race, now, or any organization I race with, it's always got to have the halos in it.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're safe. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you got into racing with all of your experience per se, not necessarily the licensing. For someone like me, since you are an instructor and a coach, what would you recommend to someone like me who doesn't have any background? I don't have a license or anything like that. What would you recommend for me, even just locally? I know I could just go to New Jersey Motorsport Park, or even I think they hold some events in Pocono.
There's always tracks around within reasonable driving distance, no matter where you are. The key thing is just getting on track. Okay. If you can't get on track, go to an autocross. Autocross trains your brain better than a track day will. Okay. You can have a guy that gets really good at autocross because it's so fast paced. The slaloms, you got to look so far ahead to go through, a box and, do a turnaround and go back the other direction. It is constant eyes and fast thinking and remembering what the heck's going to happen in front of you. You can take a guy that's really good at that and put him on a racetrack, and he's exceptional because there's so much time to think by the next corner. But you have a guy that's been on the track that's never autocrossed, you put him in autocross, he's fucking terrible.
Yeah, he's like, there's so much happening. It's like,
so you don't necessarily have to jump right into being on a car and getting a comp license. Go to the track with your car. Go to a track night in America. Go to a Porsche Club of America event. You don't have to have a Porsche or a BMW to go to a BMW CCA track day or a Porsche Club of America track day. You can have any car you want. You don't have to be a member of the organization. You just register an event, and they're all over the country. New Jersey Motorsports Park, Watkins Glen, Summit Point in West Virginia, Pocono. There's so many around here. And then you go further north, you got Lime Rock, you got Mid-Ohio, you go further south, you got VIR, Atlanta Motorsports Park. That's just this coast. There's tracks everywhere.
All around the country,
And then when there's not tracks, there's guys in parking lots setting up cone courses to do autocross. So the key is seat time. Because, if you have more foundation driving, it's going to pay off when you actually go to get your comp license. So go-karting, indoor karting is another good thing. Kind of like autocross, right?
I actually just dropped a video of my first day at K1 Speed.
Nice.
I'm trying to participate with their Porsche program that they have. The league that they have.
K1's great. Lehigh Valley is another good karting place around here too.
I'll have to check that one.
Both indoor. Outdoor Oakland Valley Raceway Park,
Okay.
and also New Jersey Motorsports Park have some outdoor karting where those gas karts, they're freaking
I,
good.
I
They're
s-
really good.
I saw that on their website. I was
Oh
like, I
yeah.
was half tempted to tell the wife, like, we're gonna have to go this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And then
okay.
sometimes New Jersey will combine both their kart tracks together. The
Mhm.
left and the right side, they'll run the big course. They call that Tempest.
Okay.
And oh man, that's good.
Mm,
That's a really good
I
track.
have to look out for that one.
Yeah.
If I were to go get my license with
Mhm.
even with getting some seat time,
Mhm.
is that just a weekend course, or how long does it take to actually get like a comp license?
Uh, there are some that can, I think, get done in a weekend. I can't remember who those are, but the key thing is there are, I believe, levels to this with some organizations where it's not all just accomplished in one weekend. It might be a couple weekends,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And you don't want to rush it either,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Yeah.
more seat time you get, the better you're going to be.
Yeah.
So if there are programs that are over multiple weekends, do the multiple weekends. The more seat time you have, the better it's going to be. I'd
Absolutely.
personally go for the longest one that you can get with the most training that you can get for what the cost is.
Yeah.
Because the more training you have, the more successful you're going to be in the wheel to wheel once you start to get involved.
Okay.
Also, I would see, just if you plan out what you want your trajectory to be.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you want to buy a Spec E36 or
Okay.
something like that. And you're like, I want to get into racing. Here's what I want to race, and here's where I want to race. There's a logical progression towards, okay, if I'm going to race Spec E36 and I do my research and I see that most of the competitive guys or the largest fields of those cars are being raced with NASA, go through the NASA program.
Okay.
If that's where you want to end up being, because then you're already getting your networking done with the organization that you're going to be racing with anyway.
Fair enough.
You know,
Fair enough.
so
Yeah.
that's always something that you would want to keep in mind, just long term where you see your trajectory is. And then you can do some networking, go to the events before you even go to the comp license school, right?
Yeah.
So you see
Okay.
some NASA races that are going on, go out there, start talking to guys that have gone through it already,
Yeah.
and be like, hey man, I want to get involved. What was it like for you? And why are you running the class that you're currently running?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People also have different speeds they want to go, right? An E36 might be a little slow for some people, but
Yeah.
momentum cars are arguably more fun, especially when there's a bigger field of them versus, you're racing two other guys in a really, really
GT3.
fast car, but
Yeah.
who wants to win against two people?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our
Fight.
fields in grid life are anywhere between 30 to 60 cars. That's competitive.
Okay.
That's a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds
yeah.
like it could cause a lot of accidents though.
Well, they're pretty clean. They're very
Yeah.
professional and
Okay.
very picky, So if you touch somebody, I mean touch, you're getting your video equipment and you're going over with your SD card to have a chat, both drivers, to figure out
Gotcha.
what happened, why it happened, and how that's not going to happen in the future, and probationary period of whatever if necessary. That is very important with a lot of organizations. This is not bumper cars.
Yeah.
If you feel like you want to go out and you want to touch other cars and be like, oh, sorry about that, you go to the place where all the cars are dented and fucked up anyway, and that is Lemons.
Yeah, exactly. It's Lemons or Derby.
Don't start bad habits.
Yeah.
It's good training of what to do and what not to do in a lot of cases, especially if you're trying to be in a more professional racing environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll close this off with a scenario here.
Yeah.
For you to coach me for a month, how much would that cost?
Free. All you have to do is come to a Porsche Club of America event. Okay. And if you buy entry into a PCA event for track days, that means you get a free instructor with you that entire weekend that you're on track.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it might be, let's say, $300 to $500 ish, depending on how many days you do and what track that you go to.
Yeah.
But if you take your car and you come to, let's say, New Jersey Motorsports Park in June, right? You've registered your car. It's tech inspected. Everything looks great. You got long pants. You've got A helmet,
Yes.
you show up, you're going to have somebody in the passenger seat with you every single time that you're on track. It might be me, might be one of the other 30 or so professional instructors that we have. They're going to have comms equipment in the car between the two helmets so we can talk and have good conversation, that you can hear us, good hand signals. And then we also have classroom instruction teaching essentially, lines, what an apex is, how to track out where you want your hands to be, how the brake pressure should be, where your positioning is for your seat and your hands, so on and so forth. You get all the basics down of the training of how to drive a car properly on track.
Okay.
And you don't have to pay for any professional coaching because they're already there included.
Okay.
So that's what a lot of track day organizations do. BMW Car Club of America does that. PCA does that. I don't think Track Night in America has that, or maybe they did and don't anymore, maybe vice versa.
Yeah.
That one's a little bit more of a free-for-all, but also more cost-effective because training's not included.
Fair enough.
But yeah, you want to come out and have some fun and learn how to drive, come to a HPDE event, high performance drivers education, with PCA or BMW. I'll be out of the PCA ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. That sounds awesome. I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you guys for coming to check the video out. My name's Felix. This is NPC Racer, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
All right. Cheers.
I want to give a big thank you to John Gaydos for accepting the interview with me. I told him the whole situation, how I don't have a racing license, how I'm trying to start this whole YouTube channel to try to move my way towards getting my racing license. And he was willing enough to give me the interview and answer a few of my questions. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave a like on there. If you guys have any additional questions that I didn't manage to ask, please leave them in the comments below. And I would love to do a part 2 with John Gaydos again. I'll be asking him about doing that eventually. If you believe in the journey and believe that I can go from sim to real seat, I would like to see the progress from nothing to possibly something, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps and I really appreciate it. My name's Felix. This is NPC Racer, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.